the one big reason I keep coming back to that combines all my fears about like what term Hartman, Foligno, Zuccarello, what term were they going to get? How much money were they going to get? Are their spots locked in? Honestly, the one thing I keep coming back to is the thing that makes me nervous about everything is the fact that you have Freddy Gaudreau locked in for 5 years. That's where I keep coming back to. I'm like, oh, if you want to talk about like blocking a spot, and again, I say this every time, I feel so bad because no matter what Gaudreau does, he's catching ricochet shots every time contracts are mentioned or spots lineup are mentioned. Like Gaudreau's like, well, that fucking Dino's son is like out there.
I do think Foligno's replaced him as the punching bag. I do.
Yeah, well, I think it's gone. I think it's quiet, and then that everyone's gonna remember. If you go to the first 6 games, no points. But like, wait a minute, they locked him in at 5 years, motherfucker.
Get rid of him and his dad. Fuck him.
But my big thing is like for young players, if they're gonna come over and like jump in the league, especially like guys from Europe, if they're gonna come over, if there's a spot open, it's unless you're on the level of Kaprizov, you're looking like a middle 6 role. Even a guy like Rossi, if he's
it's mostly bottom 6, man.
Rossi. Yeah, but like Gaudreau's stapled to that third line, center and wing.
I don't agree. I think long term, both him and Foligno could easily be 4th line guys, and I think they can play the role sufficiently. It comes down to like how the game evolves. I'm more saying if Evason's not here anymore. If Evason's here, he's 3rd line minimum. But like,
well, that's the thing. For me, I don't really know how much Gaudreau gives you on the 4th line. Because that, like, right now he benefits big time from like he is.
I disagree. I loved him as a 4th liner in Pittsburgh before he came to Minnesota. Like, I was sad that he left.
He wasn't even playing every night though.
In Pittsburgh, he was for the most part.
He didn't play. Minnesota was the first full NHL season.
No, I didn't say it was full, but it's not like he was like playing.
Yeah, he filled it in spots. 50%. If I have a guy signed for 5 years, I don't want him like.
Yeah,
I don't want him in a press box for 40% of the. You know what I mean? But for like, and I don't think you get as much value in Gaudreau if he is in like a 4th line role. Like if you're like, all right, go kill penalties, get like 2-3 minutes even strength. Like Freddy Gaudreau, like he's a good fucking hockey player. That's where I keep coming back to. I feel bad. He's a fucking good hockey player, perfectly serviceable, like middle 6 guy. That like in a pinch, he's proven that he can play in this fucking league at this point.
Is this the classic? Is this the classic? Like you work for your dad or your dad coaches your team and everyone's like, oh, he's just getting it handed to him. But as soon as you go somewhere else, they're like, oh shit, he can actually play. Like, do you think that they respect Freddie Evason more once Dino is no longer the coach? Or will they just pile on the hate still?
I think I don't know. That's the thing. I have no idea. Like that's where like there's just so many different.
Come on, play along. Like bite.
I know. I'm actually trying to think about like there's just so many different outcomes specifically with this Gaudreau thing and the Evison thing. Like it's just like it could go. There you go, fucking go. 12 years, 2.7 million for Hartman.
even knowing the ramifications of the 13-year Parisian Suter deal is like, nah, fuck it.
No, we'll do it again. Who gives a fuck? There's just a million outcomes with the Gaudreau thing, but like that's the big reason that I was so worried about specifically these 3 contracts that are, well, 2 of them are now signed, 1 of them's pending. Like it's honestly like the middle 6 spots where I'm like, that's where you're probably gonna like have the younger guys get their first run in the NHL is like, hey, one of your guys on your wing, I mean, Foligno is locked in. That's like his spot right there. Not a bad guy to be like rolling out with to start. Like, first of all, you're safe physically. You're safe. You'll be okay. No one's going to touch you. He's going to do a whole lot of solid defensive work. And whether people like it or not, Foligno has skill. He can score. Like, he's a good fucking hockey player, whether people want to admit it or not. Not a bad guy to like, depending on the type of player, I guess, but not a bad guy to have like riding shotgun with you when you roll into the NHL. So,
yeah.
But the thing is, again, like there's just so many like like Gaudreau, I think he's just like stapled to that third line.
Sure, that's fair. But do you think that Foligno, it's almost kind of set in stone that back half of the contract, right? Like it conveniently aligns with him losing the no move clause, but like basically he's going to be a third liner for 2 years, and then he's going to be a fourth liner for 2 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well,
which I think is okay.
Depends how it goes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we keep and this is just a natural fan thing where it's like we just like doomsday these things. Where it's just like, well, I know it's fun right now, but the back half of this I am planning out my life in 3 years, and it's gonna suck.